All right, let's get this on the road. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. My name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. I'm working on putting together some pretty amazing things, and I've been working hard. I've been trying to get this done for a while. Hi, kitty. What are you doing? And now I'm in a position where I can start sharing some of this. So I'm really excited to jump into some of the details that I've been. Let me just show you. This is really cool. Okay. So first things first. Let me show you. There we go. This is stuff that I'm using to make this work. So right away, what's happening is I'm using vMix. vMix is a streaming software that allows me to both record and stream at the same time. Most products will let you do that as well, like OBS or Streamlabs OBS or XSplit. All of those are even Ecamm or BeLive. Those are all great products and they all work amazingly well. I like vMix from the hands-on control. I'm also using a series of shortcuts and hotkeys to help make it look a lot simpler than it does. I'm using a Sony camera with a Sigma 16mm 1.4 aperture lens. I'll dig into more about what that means later. My audio, I'm using a Shure SM7B microphone. It's just right out of the camera angle here. Hold on, I'm just going to move it up just so you can see. And so it's just out of the frame enough, but it's close enough that you can still hear me. And I'm also using a bunch of other software and WordPress to help make it look super simple. So I'm going to jump into what each of these are. But in the meantime, if you're new here, my name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. I talk about things that are related to recovery, mindfulness, addiction, overcoming adversity. These are all, I would say that they're interrelated, and I'd say that they are struggles and challenges to manage. So a couple of years ago, I started making videos and I started putting a lot of effort and time around live videos and production switching. It's taken me a long time to get here, and it's no slouch of effort. I've made more mistakes than I've gotten things right, but I've gotten to the point now where I've got a slick production. I've got a show that I can get up and running. I'm working on a podcast. I'm working on workflows, and I've got it to a place where I'm happy, and I'm proud to show what I'm about to show you. A lot of this is going to be jargon, and a lot of this is going to be pretty fancy, I would say, but it's only fancy because I've worked hard at making it look fancy. So right away, some things that you might notice are different are the video setup. So to make the video look good, I'm using vMix. Earlier I mentioned OBS, Streamlabs, XSplit, Ecamm, BeLive. These are all different streaming softwares. But I'm using one that uses a video processor. So, sorry, a graphics processor. So it offloads a lot of the work onto the graphics card. So I'm loading in all the assets. Yes. Like this overlay, like this lower third. But I'm also using other things, like having a little video of me in the corner, like the camera source as it grows, like these little guys at the bottom hanging out. These are people watching me live. I'm recording this, so it's going to be live to tape, but I'm using vMix to help organize all of it and to put it together for me. So it looks simple, it looks easy, but I'm using vMix to offload a lot of that work away from my processor and then shifting it onto my graphics card. So I'm streaming in, when I stream at 1080p 60, and I send it up at 4.5 megabytes per second. I do that because I want to be able to go and have a clean, crisp image. Right now it's recording and I'm sending that signal. I'm recording the audio and the video with overlays, but I'm using the Stream Deck and it's called a Elgato Cam Link. That's what it's called. I'm using a Cam Link to take that audio or that video and sending it to my PC. So my camera, it's taking that image, and it also has audio as well, and it's sending it through an HDMI cord into my PC. And I can't get that to be, my computer doesn't view that as a camera, even though it's a camera. That sounds really weird. So I'm using a capture card, and it's by Elgato. And Elgato will help me because it converts that camera signal into a signal that my computer sees. And it sees it as a webcam. I've had webcams before in the past, but the webcams in the past, they haven't created the same depth of field. They haven't created the same color gamut ratio or the same, I want to say, vibrance because you can't get that kind of a crisp feel to it. Or even this, here's one where the autofocus is amazing on this camera. I cannot say the same about my Logitech camera that I've used in the past. If you watch my videos in the past, that's what I've used for my bread and butter. It wasn't until recently that I stepped up the game and then got this camera. And I'll jump into what this camera is in just a minute. But for vMix, I'm linking it all together. In vMix, I'm loading in all my lower thirds. I'm loading in all my camera sources, all my assets, all my lower thirds. And I'm having vMix displayed in a way that it looks all slick and cool. The whole reason I'm doing this workflow, this specific layout, is so that when I do my lives, I'm able to do the recording for my audio and my video and then have that be the finished production. I won't have to worry about any post-processing. I won't have to worry about trying to split audio or video or trying to, because in the past, I don't know if you've paid attention to some of the videos I've made where I'd record them on my phone and I'd record it on my phone and then I'm using my phone screen to try and edit the video. And there's only so much real estate on a phone layout. And there's only so much processing power that a phone can do. I don't get to have the same depth of field on a phone camera or a smartphone camera, and I don't get to have the same audio inputs. Like I can't plug in this microphone into my camera or my iPhone. It just doesn't work. Or can I put this lens on my iPhone? I'm sure there's adapters I can get, but then I'd have a whole camera rig, really. So I don't want to have to do that. And so vMix is what helps me put all of this workload onto my computer. And vMix lets me separate that workload into my graphics processor and my CPU processor. By splitting that workload in half, that allows me to not overload my PC. There's a couple more advanced things I do as well, like splitting the workload between two PCs, but I'll dig into that in another video. In the meantime, let's jump into some of the other things I'm working on, namely my audio and my video. At the end, I'll jump into what some of the software I use or how I organize that. But for my video setup, right away, you see this image is crisp, you see it as clear, and you see that this depth of field, it looks pretty cool. Like it's really awesome. And this autofocus, it's really fast. I love this autofocus. I can't get enough of this. If I move around, and this was something I couldn't do with my Logitech camera. My Logitech camera would autofocus left, right, and center, or the worst, it would do the white balance. Have you ever seen it where it shifts colors and it would shift between the super white or the super dark, or something would fluctuate? My cat would jump on my lap and then the autofocus would go crazy, the auto white balance would go crazy. There was a couple times I tried to use two Logitech cameras, but that didn't work out because they would sometimes flip. Like one would flip upside down. I would try doing one as black and white and one as color, but that didn't work out either. Because the PC would see two of the same name camera and then it would mix up the settings. The Logitech cameras, I think, is like 8 years old or something. Like it's not new, but it's a workhorse. I use that for many videos up until now. So I'm happy that I've got this new camera. The kind of camera I'm using it's a Sony a6400. I'm using it for the camera body. I think I could have gotten away with the Sony a5100 series for what I'm using it for, a stationary static camera shot where it's like one angle. Like I'm not doing any vlogs with it. I'm not walking around or holding the camera. I think if I were to do this again, or if I were to get a second camera, I would get the Sony a5100 in comparison to the 64. There's a newer one that just came out, the 6600. That one's insane though. That one has autofocus built in, but it has the in-body stabilization, it's called. That's a whole other level that I'm not even operating at. But still, I like that there's options. There's entry-level options and then there's higher tier. The 6400 is a step down from the highest tier, but it still is something that I can use and I'm able to manage it. And I still get this great color, I get this great autofocus, and it's something that's future-proofing is why I went forward with this. Now, the kind of lens, now this is important. The lens that attaches to the camera is almost more important than the camera itself. So the lens is what helps create this depth of field. The autofocus is what the camera's doing. Processing the signal, that's what the camera's doing. But the aperture, the depth of field, this range in focus here is awesome. So if I were to move backwards, hold on, I'll slide back for a second. If I slide backwards, you'll notice that I'm still in focus. So if I move closer, hold on. If I move closer, I'm also still in focus. This is huge. I've never been able to pull this off with the Logitech camera. So the Sigma 16mm aperture lets me have that aperture be so fine tuned that it's able to focus on me and still keep everything else blurred. So if I move my hands closer, it's not in focus, but as soon as you cover up my eyes, it goes in focus. And then right away, it zooms back. I can't get enough of that. That's awesome. Okay, so using the Sony camera, using the Sigma lens, I'm using the Elgato Cam Link to convert that video into what my PC, it sees as a webcam. So that webcam input, again, I couldn't get that with the Logitech camera, but I can get that with this camera. So the Cam Link, it takes the processing power. It's essentially like a capture card. And so it converts a camera signal from an actual camera into something my PC can process and manage. Because if I just take this HDMI output from my camera and then plug that in to the PC, it doesn't know what to do with it. It has a hard time processing it. And that's where capture cards come in. Internal kind of capture cards go inside your camera, and then there's external capture cards like the Cam Link, and it does the processing on the little, it's like a little USB stick almost, where it plugs into one side and plugs in the other one, goes into your computer. So the Cam Link solves a lot of problems for me, and it makes it easy. And so what's different about, I would argue, the Logitech camera, it can capture 1080p, but then it can only send 1080p at the same time. It can't capture more information and send 1080p. It can only see 1080 and then only send 1080. I think I said that right. But with this camera, the Sony camera, it has a wider sensor, and it has more processing power in the sense that it can do autofocus faster on device compared to the Logitech camera. Again, the Logitech camera is not bad. If that's what you have, use it. But being able to capture more data, I can then downscale that and have it sent out as 1080p. That's what makes the camera, this signal right now, that's what makes it look super fancy. That's what makes it look great, vibrant color. That's what makes it look super sharp. And the autofocus and the blurred background, all of that comes together by having more information to transfer. And then downscaling, it means I'm capturing more data than 1080p. I'm just limiting it down to 1080p, so there's more information to be processed compared to just capturing 1080p and then only being able to send 1080p. Like you're sending everything you get with the Logitech camera. Again, it works great. It's amazing. But this looks pretty awesome. Okay, now jumping into audio. So for my audio setup, what I'm using is, it's the Shure SM7B microphone. Let me just bring that up. And so the microphone, what I've read online is it's got like a darker sound to it. That's what the YouTube community is saying, where it's by itself, it's hard to listen to because it's super quiet. So often there's need to have some sort of interface to go in between the camera and your either your PC, or sorry, not the camera, the microphone and the PC, and that's an audio interface like a cloud lifter. But I'm using something called the Go XLR, and the Go XLR, it's a mini version, not the larger one, but the mini allows me to plug in the Shure microphone that I'm talking to you right now, and I'm able to have, and it's like a different audio interfaces. So the different audio interfaces would be, let's say we're listening to music right now. That music, I'm able to route differently than, say, the gaming music. Let's say I'm playing a game, or my audio is unhindered, meaning I'm not lowering the volume of my microphone, but I am lowering the volume of the music that we're listening to, the background music. If I were to have a game or have a chat or have a call with somebody, I could have different audio levels for those inputs and still be able to send the signal, send the stream out. So the Go XLR lets me have different audio interfaces and control them with their different inputs. There's even a fun button here where it's like a beeping button, so I press the button and it beeps. It's something silly, but I enjoy pressing this button. There's even a mute button too, so in case So there's a mute button. Again, it's a small little device, but it's super powerful for what it offers. Holy cow, this thing, it changed the way I think about how I approach audio. So what my plan is to scrape the audio from this video and to be able to convert that into a podcast. So with the podcast, I'm going to be using a service called podcast.co. Before all this, I was trying to set up a podcast, and I was using a company called Libsyn, Libsyn. And Libsyn is a great company. They do a lot, but there was a monthly cost to it. And for the amount that I was putting into it and the amount I was getting out of it, in my mind, I wasn't getting the same worth and value. So I decided to go with a different company called podcast.co. And podcast.co, they will take that signal and then distribute that for me automatically. So if I send one signal to them for my audio RSS feed, they will then in turn send that to Google Podcasts Player, Apple Podcasts, or any, what is it? Stitcher Radio. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Stitcher Radio. And then Spotify. all the big names. So I like that podcast.co offers that as a service, and it was a one-time purchase. I think it was on AppSumo or something. So by paying once, that removes all the downline costs and I save in the long run. I do have a certain, like if I didn't have if the podcast takes off and it becomes like millions and millions of downloads, I think there is a cost eventually, but it only jumps up by like 10 bucks a month or something. But I'm far from that at this stage. Anyway, so that is my audio setup. Now, if we jump into the next one, I'm going to jump into how I've got the background stuff, not like the background, but my software. So I'm using a hosting WordPress. Mostly everybody uses WordPress, but I'm using a whole bunch of custom plugins. I wanted to make it look simple, quick, and easy. And the whole point of that, for the website at least, the website, if you want to go check it out, it's outstanding.live. And outstanding.live, when you look at it right away, it looks like a series of thumbnails. And that's essentially what I've done is I've taken my YouTube thumbnails and uploaded those as links to the videos themselves. So it's like a wall of videos. What I would like to do in the future is all those videos in the past, they were shot with my Logitech webcam. And I want to go and reshoot them. But what I want to do is I want to take them, create shorter videos of those videos, if that makes sense, and then index them on my website so that they're easier to find. So I'm going to categorize them, batch record them into shorter videos, host them on that, I think it's YouTube, and then I can have them viewable and searchable. And so if somebody, and I'm going to create the base, the home base of all my social media, of all my videos will just be the website. So I'm going to have the videos be easily searchable, easily discoverable. And if you want to go look up a certain topic, you'll be able to find that topic there. And so my topics will be, again, we jumped into it earlier, mindfulness, recovery, addiction, overcoming adversity. You know, the point of these videos is not meant to convince you of anything. Like, I don't want to try and persuade you in any way. What I did want to have these videos would be, once you've made the decision that this is something you want, that this is a life you want to pursue in this path, then these videos would be a great asset to you. These would be like an extra tool in your toolkit. So I'm using these videos as a way to help communicate that message out. I enjoy these videos. I have fun with it. I've ironed out the workflows, and I've still got a long ways to go. But in the meantime, it's just a one-man band. I'm having fun with it. If you have tips and suggestions on how I can get this done better, or if there's something else you want to see, let me know. I've had a couple of people ask me about my workflow, so this is kind of where this is coming from. I'm using services like Relay That, InVideo, Mojo, Pick, Play, Posts. Now I'll talk a little bit about each of them. The last two are iPhone apps, and the first two are their software as a service, where these were also one-time purchases. I think I got them in AppSumo or something. They were like $39 or $59. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But Relay That allows me to, I can create a look and feel. If you think, an example would be like a thumbnail, a YouTube thumbnail. I can create a look and feel of what a thumbnail would be. And then I could say, okay, take that image and create a similar image, but make it brand friendly for Twitter, or not a YouTube thumbnail dimension, but make it a Facebook widget or ad picture friendly. And because they've already done the heavy work of what those dimensions are and what will look good in those areas, I can use Relay That to auto generate that look and feel for me. I don't have a designer. I don't have any budget for designing. So I'm just using whatever services I can get. I can create them by myself. Like I can use Canva. I can use Microsoft Paint, and I'm sure I'd be able to create something. But I really don't have that time and effort and energy to kind of go and work with. Aren't these little cute, these little avatars at the bottom of the screen? These are the people watching me on Twitch right now. So I'm using a service called Relay That to help me to take those images that I've set up and then to hey kitty, to take those images and create Twitter friendly versions of those images, to create a blog picture hero image with that image. So I like that it can convert those into the many. And it's not the same image, but it will be, the spacing will be different. The coloring will be lined up better. I like that Relay That thinks of that in advance. There's another one that I've checked out called Glorify. That one is super fancy, and that might be worth a video all in itself. But InVideo is super powerful. Holy cow. InVideo lets me I'll use the example of a blog post. So I can take a blog post RSS feed and give it to InVideo. And InVideo will in turn, have you ever seen those videos on YouTube or Facebook where there's text on the screen, there's like an image in the back with the oceans and the waves or the trees blowing, there's whimsical music in the back? InVideo will help you create those videos or those kinds of videos, but you can feed it just your RSS feed if you want it, and then it will read your blog post, pull text from your blog post, put that as images or as words, and based on the words, it will go find videos that match the text, and then it will suggest music. It's crazy. It's powerful. It's got this AI component behind it. So an RSS feed is what attracted me to that, because then I can feed it just my blog posts, and then it will convert a short snippet, a summary of that blog post into a video, which I can then take and then distribute that to Twitter, Pinterest. That's the other one, right? Yeah. I don't have to reuse that whole same content and to share that everywhere. What if I want to create a snippet of it and then post it on Instagram, take a snippet of that and then post it on Twitter? I don't want to have the whole thing on there. Of course, I'm going to share the whole thing on there, but I don't want it to be that's it. So I'm using InVideo to help connect the gaps, if you will, where having it ready, you can create your own videos if you wanted, like load in your own videos, load in your own text, load in everything. I just like that there is a feature where you can feed it your RSS feed. It solves a problem for me that saves me time. Now Mojo and PicPlay Post. PicPlay Post has an artificial intelligence to it as well. That one has a subscription service. I think it's a crazy amount. It's like 15 or 20 bucks a month. It's insane. Or it's $99 a year. The huge win about PicPlay Post is you can send it, like let's say you took a whole bunch of photos, you're at an event, and I've done this before where I've taken photos from an event, videos from an event, and I've got them all on my phone. I then go to PicPlay Post, I drop in 50 photos, 50 images, whatever, and PicPlay Post will organize them into a smooth transition, already designed video. And you can customize the length. It's crazy intelligent, because remember when I said InVideo will read the text that's in your blog post and then suggest songs and pictures? Well, PicPlay Post it won't watch your videos, but it will analyze the videos and then focus on the one moment where you flipped your hair, or the time you sneezed, or the ice cream fell off the ice cream cone. And that's the second that it will show you in the video. So it'll make 50 different videos, or it'll make it'll take your 50 different photos and videos, organize them by time, but it will highlight those moments where the ice cream fell off, the moment where you threw the dart and it hit bullseye, the moment you sneezed or you flipped your, or any of those things. It's crazy how smart it is and how smooth it works. I don't use it every day, but when I have a whole bunch of photos and videos and I just needed to make a quick and dirty video, I'll throw it into Pick, Play, Post, and then it spits out an amazing one. Now, I bought this long ago, like when it first came out. So I think I got grandfathered into this premium plan. But if you were to get that same plan today, it's a subscription cost per month. And I think that's to help pay for the artificial intelligence engine behind it, which makes sense because for it to watch videos and learn, that's insane. First off, kind of creepy, but I love how easy it is. Now, the other one to talk about is Mojo. Pick, Play, Post is on your phone. Mojo is also on your phone. Mojo does not have any artificial intelligence behind it, but it's a way to put together a quick video. I say quick video, but you can use, have you ever seen those call to actions on Instagram or the Facebook videos or like swipe up to do this or check out the thing in the link below? Mojo lets you customize. There's way more Mojo can do, but I like how Mojo makes it easy. So if you had 2 or 3 images or a quick 2 or 3 video, you could link them together, remove the audio, put your own audio in with music, and it has music by itself. They come up with their own music, and I think they produce their own, and it's copyright free. Copyright free. That's big. So by just having to do that, it solves a lot of problems. I like that Mojo will put it together for me in the sense that I pick the photos and then I'm only making a 15-second clip. So it's not hard. You can make longer clips if you want, but Mojo has a free service where it has the landscape view, I think is free. But then if you wanted the vertical video, like the Instagram video, or if you wanted the square, like Instagram post, then that's the paid version. And the paid version, I think it's like $5 a month, or it's $40 a year or something. I can't remember. It's worth it though. I like Mojo. I like Pick, Play, Post. If I had to pay for Pick, Play, Post today, I don't know if I would, because I like the one-time cost that InVideo had. InVideo, I think, was $59 or $49 on AppSumo. You can jump into it still. I think it's good. Relay That, I think it was a $39 charge, but a one-time cost, and that solves way more problems for me because it makes it easy for me to get images out and thumbnails out really quick. Shorby. Shorby is a really fancy landing page for Instagram. Shorby lets me have one URL link, but when you click on it, it expands and then, hi, how's it going? It expands and then it lets me have more than one link. And then they call it smart posts or smart pages, if I remember. And the smart pages are where you can have different calls to action, different videos, or GIFs. That's what it is. You can have GIFs. You can have, I have a link to my Facebook Messenger bot or how to get a hold of me through my socials. But I also have, at the top, I think I have my most recent YouTube video, my most recent blog post, as well as all the calls to action to get a hold of me. So I like that it's there, and I like that Shorby makes it easy and interactive. Kitty, what are you doing? What's going on? I like that Shorby makes it easy. Again, I think this was $39 or something. It was a really good deal. Socialbee. Socialbee is another one of those fun social media apps. It's almost akin to, what's that one? Buffer. Buffer's the one. And I think there's another one. I can't remember the name. How are you? What's going on, kitty? What are you doing? You come on my lap? No? He's going to be back for sure. So Socialbee I like that it's like a content calendar. Hi. See? I need you to be back. Come here. So I like that Social Bee has a content calendar, but I like that it has something called like an evergreen content. So let's say I wanted content to be always available to be published. I can have it almost, if you think about like buckets, like if I had a bucket of evergreen content or a bucket of promotional content, and maybe the promotional content is time sensitive. So prioritize the promotional content because I have a certain video coming out on a certain day and I know that and I plan that. Social Bee helps me separate that away from just the generic content because not everything is going to be promotional, not everything is going to be evergreen, but maybe I want my cheesy quotes to go out Sunday mornings, and maybe I want the promotional video to go out as a tweet. So Social Bee helps me curate that and organize it. Remember when I mentioned earlier about how InVideo, if I can give it the RSS feed, it'll generate the video for me by reading the text? That's pretty cool. And remember when I said relay that will help me generate the thumbnails or the pictures or the branding for each of those different platforms? What Social Bee will do is they'll do like a step further where Social Bee will, I'm trying to think of the way to say it. So let's say I give that same RSS feed for my blog post. Social Bee will then create individual posts for Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and it'll resize the image for you if you want. But the one thing I like about Social Bee is I can load in a different image for the different platforms. And what does that mean? So let's say I take the branding from Relay That, I can load that into Social Bee. So I can take the hero blog post image, and that'll be great for my blog post. But then thanks to Relay That, I could get a Twitter-friendly version of that. I could get a Pinterest-friendly version of that. And then I could load it into Social Bee. And so Social Bee will then distribute that to Twitter, to Facebook, to Pinterest, and it'll be natively posted to those platforms. It's important that it's native and not like one of those retweets or reshares. Have you ever seen that where somebody cross posts a YouTube video to Twitter? Like it doesn't look the same, doesn't look good. Or when somebody shares on Facebook what was shared on Twitter or vice versa. Because you see the hashtags and you see the @ symbol. I'm like, nobody uses the @ symbol on Facebook. So Social Bee allows me to separate that workload and have it branded to those platforms. And I can then have it be evergreen or social content or promo content. So Social Bee is one of those one-time purchases that I made, again, through AppSumo, but it's been, I would say it's a neat lifesaver in the sense that I can use these tools together and they work amazingly well. Amazingly well because I'll jump into Rebrandly here for a quick minute. So Rebrandly helps, it's a URL shortener and it helps me create custom URLs. So what I have it do is I have it linked to Social Bee, which is linked to my blog, so that when I post a blog post, Social Bee will automatically create a link, add it to a queue, and Rebrandly will regenerate a shortened URL for my blog post and add it to those social media links that are queued and ready to go out. And then I've already predetermined what the calendar is in Social Bee. So it all works together. And Rebrandly, I think I pay like $12 a year or $24 a year. I can't, it's such a good deal. Like it's so cheap and amazing. I do want to dip into affiliate linking later on. So there's more to Rebrandly that I want to jump into. But in the meantime, Rebrandly does have a service where I think it's like $5 a month or something, or $4 US, where let's say I want to have it be somebody types in the URL wrong, like the address wrong, like instead of sobriety.live/YouTube, they type in YouTubes or something. I don't know. No one would ever do it, but let's say they did. Well, currently I have a redirect for YouTube, so sobriety.live/YouTube, but I don't have one for YouTubes. So Rebrandly's paid service for $5 a month would redirect you to a specific landing page, which is awesome that it can do that. I don't like that it's behind a paid wall. I don't currently pay for that, but that's why I've strategically organized my URLs to being simple, quick, and easy and memorable. Sobriety.live/Facebook, sobriety.live/YouTube, Twitch. Again, I want to make it easy, I want to make it simple, and I want to remove the friction. There's a certain level of affordance that you're imposing on people. So if I make it a super long URL, it's kind of like if I take my blog post URL and I drop that into a tweet. Well, there's only so many characters I get in a tweet. And if I've made it a really long blog post title, that tweet's going to be really long. And I don't want to, I don't want to rely on Twitter to shorten it for me. I'm sure it will. But if I can rebrand it and own that link, again, Socialbee will help me with the relinking or with the categorizing the post. But I can get Rebrandly then to help me with automatically creating that URL link according to the brand. Really, that is coming up with the images. Excuse me. Socialbee's helped me with the distribution of it. Mojo and InVideo are just fun side projects where I can create videos from those blogs. And then TubeBuddy, holy cow, TubeBuddy is amazing all by itself. It helps me create tags and it helps me get more insight into tags. I like that it also has automation, it can help save time from doing repetitive tasks. Like if I want to change descriptions or load in the end cards or the little information button, I like that I can do all of that at once. Because what I'm about to do is I'm going to reshoot all my videos from before in the past, and I'm going to re-upload them as a nicer format, as something easier, shortened format. And so TubeBuddy will help me, one, come up with tags for those videos, and two, help update all of my old videos with newer content. Because let's say I come up with new Rebrandly links, I don't want to have to go into 100 videos and update every single video. I could just get TubeBuddy to go and do that for me. Again, it's going to save me time. It'll future-proof. There is a subscription cost to TubeBuddy, but kind of like this, what do you call it? Epidemic Sound. It's worth the cost in my mind. TubeBuddy's a cost anchor. Epidemic Sound is a cost anchor. Rebrandly is a cost anchor. But Rebrandly is like $2 a month or $3 a month. It's well worth it. TubeBuddy, I think I'm paying the $10 a month plan. And then Epidemic Sound, I think is $10 a month if I remember. I can't remember. But it's worth it. Even if it was $14 a month, it solves a lot of issues. The copyright claims they never get. You know what's weird? I got a copyright claim from like 4 years ago from a video I made when I went to Maui. I put that video up on Vimeo, and Vimeo just sent me a copyright claim for a video I made like 4 or 5 years ago. It's crazy. Anyway, that's my software setup. That's my hardware setup. That's my audio and video setup. That's my workflow. I think I spent more time talking about my software than I did talking about like how I do what I do. These are just the tools that I use. I think it's well worth jumping into a video about explaining a little more deeper about these things, but I wanted to put together a video at a high level, just sharing all the things I'm doing, how much fun I'm having. I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. Let's take away the overlay. But if there's something that I've shared that's sparking your interest, or if you have more questions on something, go check out me on video. I'm going to post this video on YouTube, on Facebook, I think, as a VOD, video on demand. I have these people hanging out on my Twitch channel right now. If you want to come watch me on Twitch, I'm just having fun playing video games. Or if you want to just chat, I end up just chatting most times, setting all these streams up. But I look forward to seeing you in another video. Thanks for hanging out. My name is Jason, and this is the Outstanding Life Show. You take care and have fun, okay? Bye-bye. Oh, there we go. I gotta hit the record button.